Strengthening bonds, Chinese President Xi Jinping holds talks with Indonesian President-elect Prabowo Subianto, who is in Beijing on a three-day visit. Robust growth, China's manufacturing sector sees fastest expansion in 13 months, driven by increased domestic and international demand. Intense opposition. Taxi drivers express strong disapproval as Japan permits ride-hailing services like Uber to operate in major cities. From CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Xia Vandenberg. Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto is in Beijing for a three-day visit. He has chosen China as the first country to visit after winning February's election. President Xi met with Prabowo in Beijing. Xi congratulated Prabowo, who was initially Indonesia's defense minister, on his victory and said that he attached great importance to relations with the nation, home to nearly 280 million people. Our reporter Sun Ye has more.
One of the biggest things people are watching over the visit is whether Mr. Prabowo would continue what's viewed as a good momentum in bilateral relations achieved with President Joko Widodo. The end the meeting today looks to have yes for an answer. Chinese President Xi Jinping said in today's meeting that China views the China-Indonesia relations with a strategic and long-term perspective and is willing to deepen all-around strategic cooperation with Indonesia and bring more benefits to people of both countries. The Chinese president said China is willing to work closely with Indonesia on many fronts, and that President-elect Prabowo said he's glad he had chosen China to visit first after winning the election. He affirmed that China is a strong partner for Indonesia. He cited Chinese enterprises' active participation in Indonesia's development and said that he is in full support of closer ties with China. He also said he's willing to continue President Joko Widodo's policy of friendship with China, and the new government would also actively promote cooperation between the two countries.
Over the past decade, economic ties between China and Indonesia have significantly deepened. China has emerged as Indonesia's largest trading partner for 10 consecutive years, with trade volume surging from $68 billion in 2013 to nearly $150 billion in 2022. Additionally, China became Indonesia's second largest investor for the first time in 2019. In 2022, China's direct investment in Indonesia reached over $8 billion, up 160% from the previous year. Major bilateral collaborations have also been underway under the Belt and Road Initiative, with flagship programs including the Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Railway, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Corridor, and the two countries' Twin Parks project. Both countries are also signatories to the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, further solidifying their economic cooperation and integration. Since 2021, Indonesia has been hosting the event China Reinvest Indonesia in Beijing, focusing on China's investment in renewable energy in Southeast Asia. Our reporter Xu Yi has the details.
China Reinvest Indonesia 2024 builds upon the previous 3 years' events, aiming to provide a platform for Chinese enterprises and Indonesian officials to discuss and explore renewable energy opportunities.
And this year's event is aimed to update the latest development on renewable energy and electricity field in Indonesia for Chinese investors and financiers and connect the investors and project owners from the two sides.
This is the first time that we are doing it offline. So we are very happy to see that many participants today, offline and online. Over the past few years, green energy is one of the priority of cooperation between Indonesia and China. We also work together with China government and China companies. So we are looking forward to have a much more better cooperation.
In recent years, the two countries have made significant strides in practical collaboration within the renewable energy sector. One example is China Solar, a Chinese company that, in 2023, signed a cooperation agreement with the Indonesian government to establish the country's inaugural photovoltaic cell and module production facility. Additionally, Indonesia has implemented several incentive policies to attract more Chinese enterprises to engage in the sector.
We also have to think about how to use the energy better. For example, in transportation, we have to use a lot of battery electric vehicle. So I think that is where the Chinese companies can really help us to decarbonize. As in China, there's very big, strong companies that can bring good products with competitive price, especially on the electric vehicles, especially on the solar panel, and also on the battery storage. For example, on the EV manufacturing. So the past year, we have introduced an incentive program whereby if people who buys electric vehicle, they can get incentive. So price gonna be down.
In 2021, Indonesia established its goal to achieve net zero emissions by 2060. Officials are confident that Chinese enterprises have the potential to contribute to the country's future ambitions in this regard.
Of course, China has become one of our main investors for the last few years and strategic partners in renewable energy industry. And we need to make that potential become reality, because this is the thing that you've been able to do that for the last 40 years. In Indonesia, we would like to emulate from China what you've been doing so far. So once again, let's do it.
Xu Yi, CGTN, Beijing.
Now, for more discussions on China-Indonesia relations and cooperation, let's bring in Zhou Mi, a senior research fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. Zhou Mi, good to see you. So what message does the Indonesian president-elect's first visit to China convey about the future of bilateral relations?
I think that both countries are really important partners to the other. So we know that Indonesia is a very big country with a lot of population, while it is also true for China. So we have so many wide range of cooperation. I think that, before he was elected and until he became the president, there are almost half a year. So I think that this is the time that he come here to learn first about what China is talking about and what we are trying to do in the future. So it's a very important time. And also, they want, both leaders can discuss about the world situation and trying to understand what their attitude, trying to make some consensus on that.
Yeah. And how can China and Indonesia further enhance their economic and trade cooperation within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative and RCEP?
Yeah, there are two different mechanisms. As for the BRI, I think it's a very open mechanism that allows all the participants to think about how can we connect with each other and benefit from that. And for RCEP, I think it's a very fixed mechanism. It has, every country has made their promises. So both of us can try to fulfill our commitments, and we are also trying to involve more partners, not only for both of our countries, to participate in this rail and trying to strengthen the global supply chains and make it more resilient in the changing world.
What do you think are the key areas and potential opportunities for further economic cooperation between China and Indonesia?
There are also a lot of areas, like for the resources related areas, and we can try to help Indonesia to improve its position in the global value chain, while we can still trying to enlarge the cooperation on the digital economy, and together we can provide a better, training for the different human resources to improve their abilities to adapt to the new world.
All right, thank you so much for your insights. Zhou Mi, Senior Research Fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. You're watching Global Business, still to come. China's manufacturing sector sees fastest expansion in 13 months, driven by increased domestic and international demand.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business. Only on CGTN.
China's manufacturing sector experienced its most rapid expansion in over a year in March, driven by increased demand both domestically and overseas. The official PMI released by China's National Bureau of Statistics rose from 49.1 in February to 50.8 in March, signaling further positive momentum in the sector. The Taixing manufacturing PMI in March surged to 51.1, up from 50.9 in the previous month, indicating expansion in the sector. This growth was supported by a significant increase in new orders from customers, leading to an 11-month high in business confidence. Additionally, input costs fell for the first time in 8 months, enabling China's manufacturers to lower selling prices in a bid to drive sales. However, employment levels declined once again during the month. Xiong'an New Area, located in North China's Hebei province, is celebrating its 7th anniversary. The area's primary objective is to alleviate Beijing of non-essential functions associated with its status as the nation's capital, while also promoting the coordinated development of the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region. CGTN's reporter Ning Hong visited Xiong'an to explore the transformative impact of the developing new city on the lives of its residents.
Earlier this year, Xu Mengchao relocated his company from Beijing to Xiong'an and established a medical testing laboratory here.
Our current business revenue is around 30 million yuan, and we have already paid taxes this year.
Xu's company settled in the Zhongguancun Science Park, known as the benchmark for Beijing's technology companies. The park in Xiong'an, supported by the local government, plays an important role in luring tech companies to Xiong'an. The local government subsidies exempt 3 years of rent, allowing companies to deepen their roots in Xiong'an.
The government invited us to participate in the drafting of industrial laws and regulations, which is a great gesture. We are confident that the future of Xiong'an will be better.
With the entry of more technology companies, it has also brought new opportunities to urban planning and management. Here is the control center of Beijing's Xiong'an Expressway, where the application of technology makes future traffic management much more convenient.
This is a live feed from a camera, and for every car passing through here, you can see an avatar is generated in real time with its license plate as well as speed, and even the color stays the same. So this is the latest technology, which is called a twin simulation of the highway system.
In the 7 years since its establishment, Xiong'an has not only completed a large number of urban infrastructure projects, but also ensure that local people get to enjoy modern urban services. It has improved the local environment and implement advanced urban management technology. The experimentation with urban management concepts in Xiong'an holds valuable learnings for future Chinese cities. Ning Hong, CGTN, Xiong'an New Area.
Simplified payment processes are on the horizon in China, particularly benefiting older individuals and foreign tourists. In late March, the Beijing municipal government and the People's Bank of China convened a conference to optimize payment services in the region. Representatives from over 14 Chinese banks and financial institutions disclosed action plans aimed at ensuring a more convenient payment services. Our reporter Hou Jing has more details.
酒店是外国人来华之后的一个很重要的消费场所。
Hotels are important places of consumption for foreigners coming to China. The Beijing Municipal Bureau of Culture and Tourism has attached great importance to the recent State Council guidance on the facilitation of foreign payments. In promoting this work, we must adhere to the basic principle that large amounts should be paid by card, small amounts by QR code, and cash payment used as backup. We arrange various facilities such as post machines, code boards, ATMs, foreign currency exchange machines, and manual exchange stations according to the actual circumstances to support various payment methods using bank cards, codes, and cash.
Chaoyang District is a major area with dealings with foreigners with a high degree of internationalization. Convenient payment for food, clothing, housing, transportation, travel, consumption, and medical services, as well as education expenses, is a basic requirement for foreigners here. The malls often visited by foreigners such as SKP, The Box, Solana, and Parkview Green Fangcaodi in the area, as well as the 66-star rated hotels in the area, have achieved full coverage of POS machines. In terms of mobile payment, we have enabled more than 10 different kinds of overseas wallets to directly scan the QR codes for payments within China. Regarding cash payment, we have compiled a list and detailed addresses of 47 foreign currency exchange institutions in the entire district and organized a special legal education campaign against rejecting cash, covering more than 170 commercial enterprises in the district.
All of our branches have opened express lanes for obtaining combo sets of small change or pocket money, with a total of about 16,000 combo sets deployed. More than 2,600 self-service machines in the bank are also supporting the function of withdrawal of foreign currency, meeting the demands of cash from older people and overseas visitors to China.
China is intensifying efforts to further improve international visitors' payments experiences. Major digital platforms are streamlining the payment processes. The moves involve payments across online services with international bank cards and through local banks. CGTN's Bian has more.
When it's time to pay the bill, Chinese people, or those who have lived in China for a while, will naturally take out their phones and scan stores' QR code to pay without any hesitation. Yet, this is unexpectedly a new problem for international visitors, especially those from developed economies, as bank cards and e-wallets are still the mainstream payment in their countries. Some people say China's strong digital infrastructure has created a reverse digital divide between it and other countries. To address this, China is moving very fast to optimize the international visitors' payment services, including upgrading the payment platforms as well as improving the acceptance of international bank cards in major cities.
In February, Weixin Pay has witnessed a fivefold year-on-year increase in overseas bank transactions. To help international users activate the payment function quickly, we've simplified the Weixin sign-up process. Users can fill in their international bank cards info as verification to use Weixin.
One major difficulty for foreigners in making mobile payments lies in the low success rate of overseas individuals using Alipay or Weixin Pay, the Chinese domestic version of WeChat Pay, to link to overseas bank cards.
On Weixin Pay, users just need to submit a few personal info to activate the payment function and use it in almost all consumption scenarios. Further, we're developing a function that needs no linking bank cards on the app, which will allow users to deposit small sums of money through our partnered local bank branches directly into their wallets for use in China.
The payment optimization measures have covered merchants nationwide across various sectors, including clothing, food, accommodation, transportation, and entertainment. To make it easier for visitors to pay like a local, international card organizations like MasterCard and Visa have also upgraded their services.
We have continually optimized our services. For example, we have translated and categorized information for tens of millions of domestic merchants to support the upgrades of Alipay and Weixin Pay, and assisted overseas card issuers in tuning their risk control systems. This has effectively controlled fraud risks while also increasing the transaction approval rates. In December 2023, the number of active accounts held by the MasterCard cardholders in two major payment apps increased nearly fivefold compared to the January.
As Chang says, MasterCard has also pushed the acceptance of international cards in representative business districts while promoting contactless tap-to-pay transactions that align with international standards. The focus has especially been on small, frequent transactions that are heavily used by foreign travelers in key cities. Bian, CGTN, Beijing.
You're watching Global Business, still to come. Taxi drivers express strong disapproval as Japan permits ride-hailing services like Uber to operate in major cities.
Here on Biz Talk, we connect the dots, shedding light on the real stories behind the economic landscape. To better understand China's dynamism and the economies and rhythms of business, propelling new drivers of growth.
China.
Chinese market. Biz Talk, your window into China and the global economy. Only on Biz Talk.
Japan has authorized the operation of ride-hailing services like Uber in its major cities. The decision comes as the Transport Ministry eases regulations within the taxi industry to address the decline in the number of drivers caused by depopulation and the pandemic. But as Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo, this move is encountering significant opposition from certain unions.
The message from Japan's taxi driver union is clear. They believe new ride-sharing laws will destroy jobs, affect safety, and must be stopped.
We are concerned more competitors will see a decrease in drivers' wages. Also, taxi drivers conduct thorough safety checks before leaving the dispatch office every day. We are concerned whether rideshare drivers will do this.
The government is looking to make up a shortfall in numbers as Japan's depopulation crisis bites.
We're exploring the potential of ride-sharing to address serious social issues such as the shortage of local transportation and service providers.
But the union says the move isn't necessary.
There was a very tough period when inbound tourism dropped during the pandemic and we lost many drivers. But now the numbers are showing signs of recovery nationwide.
Official statistics show the number of taxi drivers fell 20% between 2019 and 2023. The government hopes to heal the industry by relaxing licensing rules. Drivers will be allowed to operate taxis with a standard driver's license instead of a specialist taxi one. However, they must be managed by an established taxi company, a key difference to ride-sharing models in the US, raising questions about how Uber and China's Didi will fit into the market. The changes are still a long way from fully opening the market to allow independent drivers, but unions are concerned it's going to be the thin end of the wedge and cause upheaval in an industry that's known little structural change since the samurai era. Experts say the changes have also been spurred by political forces.
The discussion has been rapid and the decision to proceed made within 2 months, probably because the government's approval ratings have been declining and pro-rideshare lawmakers wanted to get moving to get it done while they can.
Ride-sharing will be piloted in metropolitan areas like Tokyo, Kyoto, and Yokohama, and only during weekends and peak hours as the government begins driving changes in the taxi industry. Chris Gilbert, CGTN, Tokyo.
Now let's take a look at some other business headlines from Asia. A survey conducted by Japan's central bank revealed that business sentiment among major non-manufacturing companies reached a more than 3-decade high in the first quarter. The robust outcome has given policymakers optimism that domestic demand will underpin a fragile economic recovery. In March, South Korea's exports increased by 3.1% from the previous year, marking the 6th consecutive year-on-year rise since October. The growth in March was primarily driven by a substantial 36% surge in chip exports, reaching approximately $12 billion, the highest level since June 2022. Sri Lanka is optimistic about reaching an agreement soon with bondholders to restructure about $12 billion in debt, a significant step that will help the island nation emerge from its worst financial crisis in decades. Sri Lanka defaulted on its overseas debt in March 2022 after a severe shortage of foreign exchange reserves triggered the worst financial crisis since independence from Britain in 1948. 2024 marks a 10-year milestone for regular freight train operations between Chongqing, China, and Duisburg, Germany. Here's a recap of how the China-Europe Railway Express has generated business opportunities for both sides.
In 2014, Chinese President Xi Jinping witnessed a train arriving at Duisburg, Germany, from Chongqing, China.
The freight has crossed 12,000 kilometers in just under 18 days.
The first freight train to come in to the UK from China.
It's a lot faster than the current Trans-Siberian or Trans-Mongolian railways.
The hurdles facing logistics companies are significant, but one route, it seems, is too big to fail: the rail route connecting Europe and China.
Over the past decade, this railway line connecting Asia and Europe has maintained regular operations. The opportunities it brings to countries along the route have become captivating with every clash of the tracks. On June the 8th, 2016, the China-Europe Railway Express officially launched its unified brand, with 8 cities, including Chongqing, Chengdu, Zhengzhou, Xi'an, and Wuhan as the starting stations.
原来传统的这个海运可能需要几十天到欧洲，重庆从2011年开通渝新欧这个班列，11000多公里，整个全程运行的时间16天。
The China-Europe Railway Express brings made-in-China products to the European market, most notably cars and laptops. Chongqing has long been a global manufacturing base for laptops, with 1 in every 3 laptops globally produced there. In recent years, as the local automotive industry has flourished, the value of cars has greatly increased, surpassing that of laptops.
我们长安汽车经由中欧班列出口的地区和国家主要是多电器的地区。在2023年吧，我们经由中欧班列往往中欧市场的，一共有接近6万辆，然后占我们长安在当地的出口市场的占比呢在60%到100%等。中欧班列是我们长安发往目标市场的最主要的运输方式。
More and more high-end European cars, fine wines, agricultural products are now heading towards Asia through the railway, turning this route into a substantial two-way channel.
And that will do it for this edition of Global Business. I'm Jia Vandenberg in Beijing. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.